Good morning, Rick.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm a little bit late. I'm sorry. I texted you, but we'll let everybody know that's watching. I had just a computer update. I had a hair update too. So uh, I've got a lot going on this weekend. How was your weekend, my dear?
Oh, chilled out really,
Oh,
and I'm
very
just
nice.
looking to carry that vibe on. A couple of emotionally draining things. I think these last couple of weeks that have knocked me a little bit. News of a couple of bosses that have passed away, and one in particular, a very young fella with young kids, didn't wake up the other morning, and it's one of those that it's sobering, isn't it? I think, like with all of the work that we've done, it's a stark reminder to put these places. I'll get it right in a minute. Put these changes into place rather than sat there looking at them and putting them off, because
Yeah.
it's not being maudlin or being depressive or anything like that. It's truthfully down to we just don't know what's around the corner. So when you're sat in any sort of state of flatness or that you want to make changes, crack on and do them, because
Yeah.
I say it's just hit me now just how much that I get worried about stupid little things, and then when it comes down to such an event like that, you just go, it's just not worth it. It really isn't. It does. There's, I know that there's lots of things going on in the world that people find difficult. I get it, right? I really do, because I'm one of you guys at the end of the day. But then when you look that person now ain't got any choices to make. It's what they've left behind. It's the legacy that they've left. Fantastic legacy that, memory wise, that I've remembered about all of these people, but they're no longer part of it. So, I've woke up this morning. I had a couple of drinks yesterday, sat out in the sun while I was doing my garden, tipped a glass in memory, and I tell you what, I'm feeling fighting fit this morning, even though I can't pronounce all of my words. But I think that's more down to energy this morning. I don't know about you, how it's hitting you across there, but like deep down in the stomach, and a little bit around the solar plexus there. So there's something there that needs creating or bringing into being for me. And when it's around the sacral chakra, it's always, what's the gut instinct, what's the intuition. So there's definitely change in the air, I think.
Yeah, I was down last week. I was sick last week. I felt terrible. And I had messaged you, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm sensing there's something around the sacral area," and you're absolutely right. And it kind of went up my entire back, so like it's kind of worked its way up. Now it's like in my neck, and I think with the solar storms that we've been blasted with, those have a significant impact on our energy. On our energy stores, just as regular people, not just as psychics. So I think a lot of people are experiencing I don't want to say upheaval, but it's almost like we're being put in like an energetic blender, and we're just getting spun around a little bit. I think we're going to see more and more of these solar storms. I think they're going to keep happening. So, everybody should kind of buckle up for them. We can't predict those. We really can't predict the solar storms when they come at us. So, um, I just think maybe it's me being a little bit late and having this update today. For some reason, my computer hasn't done an update in a while, but my phone does one like once a week. I get an update on my phone like once a week. So, but what I want to start off today. I want to give you an energy card. And I also want to let you know, I'm just realizing I clicked on the psychic news report. So we're actually broadcasting to our other channel as well. I did not know that. Yeah, so we're on all of our channels. But the vibration, the Raise Your Vibration card I got, this is from the Kyle Gray Raise Your Vibration set, is shift your perspective. So I think that is something that all of us are going to need to do as we have these solar storms come in. Now we had come up with kind of a crazy, I think it was another 6 weeks of manifestation, talking about, some of what Rhonda Byrne talks about in The Secret, the Power, and the Magic. And I've been doing the magic manifestation. So it's a, gratitude journal. Every day you say 10 things that you are grateful for, but more importantly, you have to say why you're grateful for them. And this is why. The things that we focus on are going to be brought to us. We're going to, as our good friend, the Hutch says, Paul Hutch, where our attention goes, energy grows. And, when we are grateful for the things that we have, even when we're grateful for the disappointments that we have, it shifts our consciousness, and it shifts our attention, and it shifts our soul to a better platform of grace in living, if you will. How do I know you were out in the garden and you were doing Congress this weekend, and just trying to get in touch with everything that has been going on and the changes that have been going on with some of your friends. How do you show grace in the face of disappointment, or in sadness or sorrow? How do you do that?
Well, the hardest thing that I'm going through at the moment, and this is, it's not to bring the vibration down, but the hardest thing that I'm going through is that I put out this sentiment in my mind to thank all teachers, full stop. Right?
I love that. I love that you say that.
Without making any, like, looking for a working mechanism with it. Thank all teachers. So one of the biggest things that I'm dealing with is that I lost my dad in September, and it's not the actual grieving process that I'm going through. It's more of a hurt process where the relationship truthfully wasn't what I would have liked it to have been. But it was that relationship. So now that it's gone, you probably do like what I call post-morteming. So having a look round now to see what his legacy was to me. Now, I was speaking to my mum about this at length, and she said, haven't you got any good memories? Well, yes, I've got good memories, but what he's taught me is a lot of what I don't want to be. So I thank him for that, and I find that difficult. The young fella that I was talking about that's lost his life now. I think he had a heart attack. I think that's what it was. So he led a very busy lifestyle, and he was very driven, and he was very upbeat all of the time. But it just shows that we can get overloaded by stuff. Now, his legacy to me, where I thank him as a teacher, is as I left the prison service, I was trying to put together work. When work dried up, I'll go anywhere that I need to bring work in. He offered me a chance at 50 years old, working on a removal van. Now, for anybody who knows anything about working on removals, it's bloody hard work. It's hard graft. And I applied to do it for full time with him. And he said, with the greatest of respect, he said, I want to build a business on the younger element, because you've got your role in your life. He says, and I'm very, very grateful that you've helped me out in this time of need. He says, but like business going forward, and he'd got massive plans. So I thank him for the grace and the humility that he showed me, where he didn't just treat me like somebody that had just fell off the back of a truck and wanted to teach me. So I'm very, very grateful to him. Yes, there was disappointment about the fact that I couldn't make the full-time work, but to be truthful with you, there was relief as well, because he was bloody right. At 50 years of age, you've got somebody around there at 29, 30 years of age. They're going to run rings around you.
There's a difference, yeah.
Yeah. So the truth is there, but dealing with disappointment, like, this is one of my, I think one of my stronger lessons. I think that the more you fight against lessons, the more opportunities you get to learn these lessons. So dealing with disappointment, I just take this view now, right? Is this personal? Right. And I had a trainer during my NLP training that said to me, is this going to affect the price of rice at Sainsbury's. So Sainsbury's, for all you American guys, is one of our supermarkets. So
I know Sainsbury. My mom used to, before the internet, my mom used to order tea from Sainsbury. She would get the Sainsbury red box.
Yeah.
And she'd spend a fortune getting that tea here.
If it's not going to affect your life long term, the best thing that you can do, if you're anything like me, where you're a pain avoider, is if you are getting feedback that is disappointing, upsetting, right, learn from it, but learn from it quick. So as you set out your next road, your next venture, where you're looking at your pathway, I always look at it like going on, if you was going on a hike, what would I need to take with me? Right? What would I need? Would I need any training? Would I need any equipment? Would I need anything that helps me with my mindset? Would I, for instance, put a load of bricks in my rucksack and then, that I picked up along the way, put these boulders in my rucksack? Would I need them on this next journey? If the answer is no, right, I'm going to start out much like the fool on the tarot journey. I'm going to start out with this open-minded, light-hearted approach and realize that I can achieve anything that I want to do, but it's down to my attitude. So again, I thank the teacher. So when that disappointment comes in, right, why am I disappointed? Is it going to affect my life long term? The answer is, I would say, good 99% of the time is no. And my record from getting up from disappointed times and upset and anguish and all of the rest of it, so far, because I'm talking to you now in the present, is 100%. So somewhere along the line, even when I get knocked down, or I get disappointed, or I get angry, or I get upset, I recover. Think of the dog that has a shake when it gets covered in water. It shakes it all off its coat. Just give yourself a bit of a shake, and then you move on. So the hardest thing that I say that I'm dealing with at the moment is some of these angry, frustrating situations that come up that you've got to deal with, because you've got to get past them, because it's no good putting those rocks in your bag when you're going on these new journeys, is finding that spot that I go, do you know what? Thank you for that. So my tutor always used to liken it that he hates queuing. I'm the same, but as a Brit, we are excellent at queuing for no apparent reason. So you stand in the queue, and it's like, oh, can that person go any slower? Oh, what is wrong with them talking to everybody? Get out of my way. I've got so much to do today. And yet,
I'm a line talker. I'm sorry. I am.
So you stand in that queue, and you're going, right, so what am I learning from this situation? Look at how stressed I'm getting, how wound up I'm getting. Well, today you are learning patience, but I haven't got time to learn patience. Right? Have you heard the irony in that statement? Right, I'm out driving, I'm getting all frustrated because I've got plans in my mind that I need to get to the supermarket, I need to pick everybody up, and I'm getting really angry, and I'm getting up to up the back end of somebody's car and things like that. Will you hurry up? What is wrong? Right, what am I learning from it? Right, patience. Because is that situation going to go away, or is it just going to keep hyping me up and ramping me up? So with that, I'm now learning to say, once that temperature bubble starts to go up, and it still does. I'm not sat here as any wide awake guru for anybody that's watching. It does. So I go, right, what am I learning from it? Will it matter in 2 hours' time? No, it won't. What happens if I ran late? What happens if I got the situation wrong? Well, being 52 years of age, it does give you an avenue of explanation. You just go, oh, right, okay, I apologize for that. I'm a little bit late because I didn't plan my time right, or I got stuck in traffic. And then you speak to people like adults. So I then turn around and look at that situation. Right, has it made any difference to my life long term? Has that person now looked at me and gone, right, I'm never going to speak to you again because you was 5 minutes late? Has my house fallen down because I forgot to do something? No, it hasn't. So what have I learned from it? Well, I've learned that I need to plan better. Around where I live, there's constant roadworks for, I don't know why, but does it serve me any purpose getting agitated about that? No, it doesn't. Is it going to embellish my life going forward that you know, if I do get angry and I'm carrying those rocks with me, no, it doesn't. So every time now, and I do struggle with this. So remember that what we resist persists. So when you're struggling with something, you're going to get more and more of an opportunity to learn methods of getting yourself around it. So everything now, and I mean everything, and particularly since the last weekend's events, I'm just thinking, right, do I need to even consider this? Is it going to make enough of a difference that I'm going to give away some of my life's hours into strategizing against it? No. Right. So when I say, I'm not being flippant here, when I say to people now, I just don't give a monkeys. It's a stronger word than that, but I just don't give it, because there's no point to it. So sometimes, and this is what I want people to take away from this today, is sometimes having a victory, having a win is not always the best. Because when you have a win or a victory, what have you won? You haven't won peace of mind. You've got to your destination that 5 or 10 minutes quicker, but what have you won, and what has it taken out of you? So now I look like stuttering well this morning, preparing to go out of the door. What do I need? Well, all I need is me to turn up, do the things that I do. I was in the supermarket yesterday, and I getting stuff for the garden and things like that. And all of a sudden, my wife looked at me and went, "Your mind's racing, isn't it? Whereabouts are you?" I went, truthfully,
it's a dangerous question to ask a psychic.
I went, truthfully, I need to be away from here. I says, I'm not feeling anything. I could feel this bubble going up and going up and going up. And I'm going, I need to get out of here. And when we sit down in the car, what lesson did I learn from it? Well, don't go to a convenience store on the hottest day of the year that sells garden furniture and barbecues if you're not very good with crowds. You know, so it's one of them things. So I thank the teacher. I suffered from it because I didn't like what was going on. But then when I come back to my environment where I was sat in the garden and doing the work that I did yesterday, I benefited from it. So learn your disappointments and deal with them quicker so that you don't suffer pain. And I want to just make one point clear on that. When I say that, because there'll be a lot of people that will message me at some point and say, yeah, but we're grieving, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I hope you know me, guys, now to realize that I put grieving on its own separate pathway, because I haven't got any answers for it. And I'm being truthful with that. What I'm talking about is the everyday life that we live. And that's the bit where I want to go, right, what am I whittling and worrying about? What am I strategizing for? Is it going to pay off for me? And then we deal with that disappointment when it comes in, if, and this is the thing, if it comes in. If we go out with the mindset that we're going to have disappointment, then ask yourself the question, why am I taking myself into that with my experience? If you've got this doubt about anybody's personality or their genuineness or anything like that, why am I still engaging in it? I spend a lot of my time with clients saying to them, right, I'm not a big one for confrontation. I've had my fair share during the job that I used to do, but I don't like confrontation. So to get me into a place of conflict, I've got to have some sort of benefit from it. And I can't think of anything in a conflict terms where I benefit from it. So I will say to people, right, you've got this energy around you. This will be somebody at home that's doing X, Y, Z. I'm not saying go and argue and fall out with them, but go into a meeting with them. Let's have a word. It's been noticed, right? What you do with that piece of information is entirely down to you, but don't bring that energy around me, because I'm not interested. And that will be like my end of discussion moment with them. So when you go home, you've got a choice to make. If you've got people that are giving you a bad vibe or are treating you like crap, there is always an alternative. And when you can't literally get out of the room from them, what you can do is cut the cord around the energy with them. Because the only time that you can get into a conflict situation is if you react to the stimulus that they're providing. So there are certain relationships where you can't get away from it because that's your lot, but you can restrict the impact of their energy on you. So I just go, right, don't don't turn up to that party. Don't get involved in that. Just walk away and go, okay, you're right. Because if you agree with somebody, even if they're talking a load of shite, they've got nowhere to go with it because they can't argue with it, because essentially that's what they want. They want attention. They want attention to whatever it is that they're bringing up. You know, they might have had a bad upbringing. They might have not had been paid enough attention to. What they want is attention. Right, we'll give them it then. Okay. Yeah. So I want to get involved in this. Right, okay, you're right. And then still walk away from it. So anyway, I've gone off on a little bit of my tangent again. But yeah, I'm just sat here and I'm dead chilled out today. It's been a lovely,
can see that from your background. It's kind of awesome. I like that you're on vacation there.
Well, the thing is, Anna, that here I was in a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, you're so lucky with what you do. And my normal everyday sort of traffic in my mind went, yeah, I am. And then I stopped then, and I went, right, I'm 52 years of age. I have worked since the age of 16 in various manual jobs, various hardworking jobs, and I've paid into my mortgage so that I can provide a roof over my head and support my family, which is, at the end of the day, is what is most important with me. I'm not lucky because I've had to do that for 27 years to get to this point. So I've prepared my journey to get to this point. So no part of me should be entertaining the fact that I'm lucky, that I'm guilty, you know, that I'm not working, that I'm sat here talking to you this morning, because I prepared that journey. And what I've done is I've reaped the benefits from that. Now, is that going to be sustainable long term? Well, truthfully, I don't know the answer. But the way that we're working at the moment with our, we'll plug the Psychic News channel there, is that it's going to fly. So that's going to embellish my life. So that's worth putting energy into. So absolutely. I'm not lucky. I've generated the life that I was looking to have. That I don't want to get into arguments. I can't even put this in the right terminology, but I so want to help people undo these basic energetic knots when you're tying yourself up in these crap thoughts. Right, stop. I'm not saying to you that it's going to be solvable overnight, but if you start to feel pain over a decision or there's a place of anguish, your body is the greatest source reference library that you could ever own. Right? Why is your body generating this pain? Why is this coming up? Why is this repeatedly happening to you? Just stop and stand in the middle of it. Come out of the vortex for a moment and just say, right, how do I change my look? How do I change my life? Because at the end of the day, we could all sit here and come out with some wonderful catchphrases and sayings and energetic things of who's put what about who. But you're responsible. You're responsible for making the changes in the life that you want to be. So I often say to people, be the change in your life that you want to be.
Absolutely. And you know, I have a question for you. So the Psychic News report was something, not in name, but it was something that I had talked about back in 2020 or 2021. It was something that I discussed with my girlfriend Shelly when we started Fortune Cookies. Hang on one second. I love you too. Have a good day. So it was something that I had talked about with my girlfriend Shelly. She's another psychic, and it didn't come to fruition until just a few weeks ago. You know, when I reached out to Thor and I reached out to you and TD and Deborah and my friend Rob, you know, essentially I manifested that. And I don't think it was me that manifested it alone. Thor had a collaboration that he did, a TikTok collaboration with someone else, and it was a really poor experience. And he was reluctant to collaborate with anyone after that experience. You know, it just wasn't a great experience that he had. Do you think that you manifested the psychic news report as well. Can you go back into your kind of history and like, was there ever a point that like you thought about doing something like this? Because if we're talking about being graceful in disappointments, Shelly was unable to create the kind of partnership with me, just because of circumstances. We're very, very good friends. She's one of my closest friends. But circumstances, she just couldn't put it together with me. So I kind of threw it out to the universe and was like, okay, let's, try and get a really big collaboration going on here. So I feel like Thor kind of had the same experience, but he was a little bit reluctant, waiting for me to be ready for it. Do you think that there was something like, do you think that you put that in a wish bucket at some point? Or do you think you sent that out to the universe to do a collaboration with like Crazy and American and another astrologer from out west? Like, I'm just curious.
I've got to be honest and say my lateral thinking head is saying no, but when you start to look at energy as a magnetic frequency, we've called this vibe with a tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So I did a lot of live work with the encouragement of a great friend of mine. He's now got another business and hasn't got the time to do that. So I it's like when a duo splits up with something, and you've had that person to bounce off, because the one thing about me is, if there's an episode of The Simpsons where they go onto the pier and they put this coin into this machine and this little thing comes out dancing and they're going, oh God, who's put the coin in the slot? He'll be going all night. You put $1 in there? Oh my God. Well, that's me. That if you put the coin in, put the dollar in, I'll turn up and talk forever and a day until somebody hooks me off with a crook. Because what I'm passionate about is helping people, right? I have always wanted from a very, very young age to entertain people, because it's made me feel better when I make people laugh, right? I don't know what my skill set is. All I know is that when people are in a room with me, I help raise a smile with them. They might just think what a prat that was, or what the hell's just happened there. But I changed the vibration around the room with people. And this is always all for me, is noticing the synchronicities in your life. Because when I was first asked about going onto platform and doing a talk about my life from the prison service to how I got into spiritual work and readings and things like that, I made it a very good, a very definitive answer of saying, no, I don't want to do it. And then you look at 6 months, a year down the line, I'm now doing talks in front of a lot of people, because I realized again that my subject matter might be a load of crap. But if I can get an audience into a room, then I can help influence their energy. And I've seen it consistently. So look at in your life again with patterns. What's come in there? What has happened? How do you feel when you've been around certain people's vibration? Do you feel happy, or do you feel a little bit run down? So when I saw what you guys were doing, and then was introduced, there was a series of synchronicities. I didn't know you from Adam, and I've got to know you, and your vibration is the same as mine, because at the end of the day, we do like a bit of glitz, we do like a little bit of glamour, we do like a bit of attention. There's no getting away from that. But at the core of what we're doing, this is not look at me. This is helping people. This is helping people with their energy structure. We're not like in my eyes, we're not these gurus or anything like that. We're honest working people that care about other people's energies. Yeah, I get off on the fact that other people look to me and go, you've really helped. Right. That must be a need in me that I need fulfilling. So when I start to see people around there, I just make it really simple. I want to help people. That is me at the end of the day. And I believe that if you put that out to the universe will align you with where you're meant to be at. Because if you'd have said to me, we're not going back too far, 2013, after 12 years of being in the prison service, with the knowledge and the skill set that I got at 42 years of age when nearly 42 when I left, that I would be now sat on YouTube with all of the kids and talking about all of this sort of stuff, what I still know as Uki, right? Then I would have laughed you off the face of this earth.
Yeah.
Just to show that at the heart of me, whether I've liked it or I'm not, I have been sensitive to since I was a kid. But I had it drummed out of me because you look at my dad was in the army and quite disciplined. My granddad was the epitome of discipline. So that pattern kind of follows through. And I sat in a spiritualist church one night and they said to me, "You are the full stop." And I went, "What's that mean?" Because I didn't really. They said, "You are the end of the road for that element.
Really?
That you won't be like that. That you will be that next sensitive person, and your son will be more sensitive than what you are."
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it's one of those things now that when I look at these comments, so we've had a lot of stuff about trolls and people like that, right? Those remarks do hurt, but again, when they hurt, what is my response? Well, I'm looking and going, right, have a nice day. If you've seen me as that person to dump your crap on, right, thanks very much, but I don't own your crap. I'm not interested in your opinion, but if you felt the need there that I'm a safe space to drop that crap on, then great. Then I've served my purpose. So for me, all of the work that we're doing, whether you like us or not, we're not going anywhere, because the majority of people that are going to work with us, and this is where my psychic ability comes in, know that we're going to help a lot of people. We're going to certainly help a lot more people than we're going to hinder or upset. Yeah, you'll drum up bits of controversy here and there, but that's life, isn't it? You know, I'm not going to get stressed over that. So I'm just along for the ride, Anna, to be perfectly honest. You know, I press like and share and thump the drum every now and again, and a lot of it goes over my head. But I'm doing what I dreamt of doing a few years ago. That picture, as now, I do the same thing every time I go to a show: is send me the people that I can work with. Yeah. And that's my attitude. So when you presented me with that opportunity, truthfully, in my head, I went, I don't know what good I'll be. Well, when
you said that to me.
Yeah. Right.
You're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, you're just going to do what you do.
I'm looking down the camera now, right, sat in my room, because this was another thing that was leveled at me one day. I said to a client, come and have a reading with me. In fact, don't put pressure on yourself to have a reading. Come and have a reading with me, and we'll decide at the end whether you're paying. I says, but the thing is, it's on StreamYard, it's on YouTube, it's on wherever. Oh, no, definitely not. And I went, why? Oh, I don't know what you're hiding. And I went, right, what would you like to see? I said, I mean, I can show you the phone around the room that I'm sat in. We spoke about appearances the other day with things, right? This is a studio that is set up. I bought everything because my desire is to be professional, right? So what I've got here, yeah, it's all an illusion, but you strip away all of that. And essentially what you've got is that person who started out 10, 15 years ago that is sensitive, but didn't realize it. So all I can do whenever I come onto any broadcast whatsoever is just be that genuine me, you know, take away the room that I'm sat in. We could have this conversation at Mackey's, or have this conversation sat in my car, because I want to help people. And my belief is that we're in that right place together, that we all bring elements to the table that is going to generate something much bigger. I can't put it into the right words, but I feel it. It's in my heart. It's in my soul. So that's all I focus on. And if we all get together as a collective and focus on something, my belief is that we pull it in closer.
Yeah.
You know, you can't rehearse it. You cannot rehearse it. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So at some point, if you're vibrating and you're pulling a certain tribe towards you, you've got to be okay with it. If you're not okay with it, that's where you've got to get off your backside and make those changes, because life will only show you what you keep sending out there.
Yeah. You know, doing this whole 28 days of the magic, where I do my 10 things that I'm grateful for. And I start to talk about the things that I want to bring toward me. You know, it's really remarkable what's happening. So, you know, I, I did an energetic clean down here in the basement, and I did an energetic haircut. You know, I was like, I really need to lighten the load a little bit. I just was feeling a little bit dragged down. And, you know, everybody kind of gets into those modes where, you know, you just kind of dump stuff on the counter. You dump stuff on the counter. You just leave things like, oh, well, I'll just like a junk drawer. Do you have junk drawers in England? Like, do you call it a junk drawer?
Junk
Yeah, like,
house.
yeah. That well, do you call it a junk drawer? Like a drawer that you just throw like batteries and pens and rubber bands in, like
My granddad used to call it a thing of purpose drawer. So that's I've got a thing of purpose drawer in the kitchen, and I've got one in my shed as well.
that sounds so nice. A thing of purpose drawer. Like I so much nicer than junk drawer. Everything you guys do is just so much nicer. But you know, when you do that, when you start to just stockpile things like that, it creates this chaotic kind of noise. So we can do that in our spaces. We can do that in a drawer. We can do that in our spaces, in our workshop or our office, or sometimes our person. We can start to collect energetically. Now, over the last 10 years when I was working in corporate, I was I was really in survival mode. I was not in that thriving mode. I just was constantly, you know, in sales, you're always constantly chasing the next sale, the next client. You're trying to secure all that. And it really has changed my perspective on how I do this business. Because this business, I'm not selling the same way that I was selling insurance. I'm not chasing the next client. I'm not trying to get the next person in the door so that I can get their money. I'm trying to get the next person in so I can lift them up, so I can help them be better, so I can take some of their pain away, so that I can help them digest that pain and move on. And it's a very different ask. Whereas when I was working in corporate, I would be asking for that next large firm that I would secure, that I would create a relationship with. And you know, that relationship was like massaging a lot of virtual shoulders and really doing a lot of extra effort. In this job, in this spiritual job, what I'm doing is I'm asking people to do the work themselves, which is a very different ask. So it's a very different sales technique. I hate to call it a sales technique, but it's a very different sales technique, where before I was kind of beckoning my clients to come along with me. Now I'm extending a hand and asking them to hold that hand and walk with me. And I'm going to get them to the next bus stop where they can get on the next energetic bus and go to where they need to go. You know, and I think, you know, our philosophy can shift and match that energetic vibe. You know, a year and a half ago, I don't think that my client perspective of helping, and that's not to say that like I was like, you know, a mercenary, but I don't think my client perspective of helping, because I was still immersed in corporate, I don't think it would have been the same as yours. So I think our timing was really right. And you know, we have and I think our viewers and our subscribers are the same. You know, they're matching our vibration. They're getting in tune with us, so to speak. And I think it's super, super exciting. And I wake up every single day and I am excited to go to work. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved my corporate job. I loved it every day. I loved that dopamine hit when I got a sale. I loved that, you know, wrestling, you know, mentally with attorneys and with law firm administrators. You know, I really love doing that. It's quite a hit. But knowing that I'm preparing someone for the next level up on the next lifetime is really a cool concept. It's really, as hokey as it sounds, insurance is really about protecting people. And that was one perspective that I always had when I worked in that industry. This is about guiding people to protect themselves. And I think that what we do is very special. And this is also a job that benefits us because we are uplifting ourselves every single day. We are different people every single day. My entire family is coming on this journey with us, and it is a journey. But every day I get out of bed and I'm like, okay, who am I helping today? What am I going to do today that's going to be amazing and great? And how am I going to extend the grace that I have to other people? There's that nice creative aspect of it that we get to do that. So, be creative in how we help people. But, I'm just, me personally, I'm so grateful that I met you and TD and Debbie and, Thor's absolutely, he's like a great surprise. Every time I have a meeting with him, it's like like opening another package and I find out something else neat about him. He's really a neat guy. And of course, Rob, I've been trying to get him to work with me for the last 30 years. And of course, Grumpy Sapper. Yes, Grumpy Sapper was a huge surprise and fun guy. I consider him a friend now. A great fun guy. Absolutely love hanging out. Oh, and here's another friend. Look. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Gemma, darling. So, it's so exciting to be able to do this and to be able to share our insights and share some practices with the people that are watching us and to help them lift up. So just to kind of recap what we talked about 2 weeks ago, because Rick was off last week and I was sick as a dog last week. Just to kind of recap what we were talking about, we were talking about doing a gratitude journal and writing down 5 things. And I'm not going to quiz anybody and ask anybody how they did with that. But, if you're not doing it now, every day in the morning, first thing, if you can do it on your phone. You can set up, a note on your phone or whatever. Write down 5 things that you're grateful for. I'm doing 10 because that's the full bore of the magic manifestation. But write down 5 things that you're grateful for, but more importantly, why. We have to know why we're grateful for things. Like you don't want to say, I'm grateful for the air that I breathe, period, hard stop. Like, I'm grateful for the air that I breathe because it oxygenates my body. It helps me pump my blood better. It helps me think better. You have to add a little bit to it. I'm grateful. Yesterday it was Mother's Day here in the United States, and my gratitude was all about my children and all about Greg, because I was so grateful. I'm so grateful that I have these 2 children, but not only do I have these 2 amazing children, and I know plenty of people don't have children, can't have children. I'm hyper aware of that, but I have 2 children that they're exactly the children that I would have designed. If I could have designed children, they're exactly how I would design them. Did I manifest that? Probably at some point down the road. I don't know. But I may have. So, and Greg has given me, with me quitting corporate and doing this full time, I actually am able to parent them again. When I'd split up with my ex, I went to work right away and I had babysitters, and I literally was putting the kids on the bus and then coming home, and they were already tucked in bed and they were still awake, but they were tucked in bed. My babysitters, which were great. I had a whole team of gals that came over. But I really didn't get to parent them quite as much as I wanted to. On the weekends, every other weekend they were with their dad. And then on the weekends that I had them, I would try and fill those weekends with a lot of stuff. we'd go to the beach. We lived right across the street from the beach. We'd go to the beach. We'd go to the park. We'd go to the pool. We would do all kinds of crazy yoga stuff in the house. Like I really, but it was every other weekend. It wasn't, I felt like I wasn't parenting them during the week at all. So I'm so grateful that Greg has kind of given me that opportunity, that I'm able to now do this business instead of run to a corporate business where I'm either, like this. Again, my corporate job was very, very intense. I was literally on the phone all day. It wasn't like I could, go upstairs and throw in a load of laundry or make lunch for anybody. I just couldn't do it. So I'm so grateful that I'm given the opportunity to do this again. My kids are approaching, real adulthood. My daughter's 19. She's technically an adult, but they're approaching real adulthood. And I'm so worried that hourglass is going to run out. And the next thing I know, they're going to have their own apartments and that kind of thing. I really am a fan of the compound. I want them to just, I'll build little tiny houses for them. They can stay here. They can bring their wives and husbands here. It's totally fine. But I'm very fortunate. And, my family is on the same vibrational level I am. We're on the same path now. And that got a little disjointed after the pandemic. During the pandemic, we were all on the same page, but it wore thin after a while. All of us have a little bit of an introvert vibe to us. So, we were like, okay, we'll stay in the house, we'll play games, we'll do what we have to do. But it wore thin after a while. It was a little too long, maybe a year and a half would have been good. So, but I'm just so grateful for being able to do this, to being able to help people, to being able, to spend time with my family and still help people and feel great at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, yeah, I did a good thing. Are we entertaining? Absolutely. I have a whole bunch of stuff that's scheduled for pre-records today with you and also with Deborah for the Psychic News Report. We're going to do some featurettes, but I'm just so, and I think a lot of it, when you're overwhelmed with gratitude, it can bring all of this great stuff to you. So you can manifest practical things. So the other day I was presented with a couple of old medical bills that kind of fell through the cracks, and I was like, oh gosh, I really got to take care of this. And I was like, I really don't have the spare money to put out for it. I'll wait until, I get a few more readings in. Like I'll just put it on hold. And Greg came downstairs and he goes, oh, we got a tax return from the state. And I go, oh, did we now? So did I manifest that? Possibly, because I've been kicking that bill down the road. And Greg got a nice deposit in the account for our state tax return. So here in the United States, we have state and federal taxes that we have to pay. So the federal we still owe money to, but the state's separate. So I was like, okay, so there's the money. I can take care of these bills. I don't have to be worried about them for a little bit. And then I went back and I looked at the manifestation journal, and that day was literally manifest the money that you need. And I had put on there that those bills needed to be taken care of. And I wanted that money to come in the next few weeks, but it showed up that day. So was actually a very, very powerful experience for me to have. And I shared that with Greg, and Greg was like, okay, I need $1 million. And I said, well, it doesn't work that way. Like you have to kind of set the pace. We can't expect the universe to answer immediately. We have to wait a little bit of time. We have to kind of, if it's Amazon.spirit that you talk about, I love that. I love Amazon.spirit. we have to give Amazon Spirit a little bit of time to respond. That was kind of a surprising, almost instant gratification, but we have to give it a little bit of time, and we have to set up that energetic field that it's going to bring us what we need in the way that we need it, which is what Dr. Joe Dispenza says all the time. He says, I want the universe to bring this to me in a way that's right for me. So if you need $1 million and you go, I need $1 million, you're not going to get a scratch off and win $1 million. It's just not going to happen. That's just not the way that it works. But if you say, I need 300 subs by the end of the month. If you say that and then you do take the action, it's going to come through. We can't, I always say, you can't wish in one hand and ish in the other and expect to get something, because you're not going to get anything. You still have to take action. All the gals that reach out to me and go, find me a man. Well, I can find you an opportunity to meet a man, but you got to take the steps. He's not going to show up on your front doorstep. He's not going to knock on the door. So, and Grumpy said, come and join the cave. You'll get lots of subs. So, you're going to be cavemen in there, Rick. So everybody, call to action. I strongly recommend that you all, try and keep a little bit of a journal, and just every day, if it's one thing that you're grateful for, you're going to find after a few days, you're going to start to build a list of things that you're grateful for. And sure, Grumpy, go ahead, post the link, baby. We got it. That's all good. You can do that. So once you start writing these things down, you're going to start to find, it may be, if you're saying you're grateful for your spouse, it may start, may start to change. You may have, because my spouse supports me in my endeavors and supports me in my work. You may say, well, I'm grateful for my spouse because he loves me in a way that no one else has ever loved me in my life. You're going to start to see some of those things change. And the more that your because change, the harder that pull, that magnetic pull is going to come in. You're going to start to pull those good things toward you. I know it sounds crazy and hokey, but it does work. And I think one of the cool things about us is that we are not, much like Kyle Gray. Kyle Gray, who has the Raise Your Vibration cards, he's got a number of different publications. He's awesome. He's not hokey and weird and woo-woo. And, I'm very, very conscious about not being super woo-woo. Like I don't want to walk in and look like Stevie Nicks. Even though I just got this great shaggy haircut. I don't want to walk in and I don't want to walk into the grocery store and have people go, oh, there's a weird psychic. I want to walk in and have, yeah, exactly. I want to walk in. I just want them to see a normal person. And then when they find out that I'm a psychic, my dentist just found out that I'm a psychic, or our new dentist. And the hygienist was like, well, what do you do? And I was like, I have a news show on the internet. And she was like, oh, what kind of news show? And I was like, a psychic news show. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So, it's not weird, wired differently. I'm not embarrassed of what I do. I'm not shy about what I do. But I do test my audience, before I don't walk in with, a sign like, hi, I'm a weirdo. They'll figure it out soon enough. So what I want to give everybody a new call to action. We're gonna compound this. Week 1 was 2 weeks ago. Just writing some things that you're grateful for, and the why you're grateful. This week, what we're gonna do is you're going to focus on the concept of how gratitude will magnetize abundance to you. So at the end of every night, now in the book, they have a magic rock process. And I have these fun magic rocks on my desk. I use them for manifestation tarot readings. Sometimes I'll do manifestation tarot readings with my clients. I did a very long one this weekend. The magic rock, what Rhonda Byrne wants people to do is at the end of the night, you're going to put this by your bed and you're going to hold it in your hand, and you're basically going to put all of your gratitude into this rock. You're just going to say, I'm grateful for this. You're going to hold it. You're going to concentrate on all the things that you're grateful for. Mel from the Hutch from the Fitness Hutch, Paul's wife, Mel, she says to keep a tally of your wins for the day. And that's something that, I was talking to her about when I was doing it. And I used to do Post-its. I used to have a VIP section when I was in corporate, and all of the important things that I had to take care of, I would have Post-its all over my desk. Well, that was like complete chaos. Now, I'm not doing that, but I found that there's an electronic Post-it program or an app in your computer. And so I have electronic Post-its. I put my wins during the day on my electronic Post-it. And then at the end of the day, I hold my rock. And Grumpy, I think that rose quartz is a great choice for that. I actually have a beautiful rose quartz that I do keep on my desk. You want to just hold your rock. You don't have to hold a rock if you don't have one. And you just want to pour your gratitude in there. You just want to do that. And, lean into it. Say it's essentially saying your prayers like we were taught when we were little, and saying you're thankful for things. And I'm just putting up your quote here. There you go. And oh yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Penny. So and I'll put Alicia's another awesome YouTuber and psychic is Alicia Wicker, and she is on X, Rumble, YouTube. She's on all the platforms. She has crystals at her www.aliciawicker.com. You can go over there. Some of the bundles that I have on my desk are from her. This is a psychic bundle that I have. And I also have an abundance set of stones from her, which I love. These are on my desk, and I use those for manifestation for my clients when I do manifestation readings. So, just kind of pour your gratitude into that. And, if it doesn't work with a rock, if you need a teddy bear, use a teddy bear. If you need a glass of water, we're going to be talking about glass of water manifestations in the next few weeks. That's going to be fun. So, just kind of pour all of that in there. And you're going to be surprised at how that presence of mind and that conscious focus is going to change things for you. You're going to be surprised at how it does. So Grumpy Zephyr, he cuddles Jack and Jim. And here's another great friend of ours. Hello, Foxy. Good morning or good afternoon. It might be good afternoon already. So, and he likes your exotic looking shirt.
Covering the sunburn.
Are you sunburned?
Oh, yeah.
You look a little pink. I didn't know if that was like a real sunburn, if that was just a...
that is yesterday. I think it was about 24, 25 degrees. And in my garden, we live on this big housing estate. So the front and the back get very, very much affected at the different ends of the day. So where the work was being done in the back garden when the sun was streaming, and so I got burnt in there. We'd had to move from the front garden because it was just too hot. It didn't matter where we sat in that front garden. So I thought, I'm not complaining about this because I've been looking for getting out there, and as you suggested with me getting grounded and getting my bare feet in the soil, but I was cooking like a pound of bacon. So I've got this lightweight shirt on today to just sort of cover the owie bits.
I had to look up what that temperature was. I had to do the conversion.
I'll put it this way, bloody hot.
I'll say.
It was lovely though.
It gets brutal here in the Northeast in the summer. It gets brutal. It's like, 95, 98, in Fahrenheit. So let me see what that is. 95.
We're not used to it. Lincolnshire is a very flat county, and around it, Lincolnshire is one of the biggest counties in the country, and we're kind of like surrounded by what's called the wolds. So we're in a bowl. Ooh. So a lot of the more severe weather passes over the top of us, but every now and again we get these sort of dips in weather. It's really strange. So I live at the bottom end of Lincoln, but if you go up there, I've driven just up the bypass, as we call it, which is probably from top to bottom, probably about 12 miles, and experienced sun at the bottom where I live and driven into hailstones at the top. Like 4 seasons in one day on a 12-mile journey. It is really, really strange. So when we start to get any sort of degree, any warmth, when we celebrate it, because it's so rare when it comes in. And the weather forecast, excuse my dog, somebody's just walked in. The weather forecast there is like, it's so interchangeable. We've had so much rain just recently that I was digging yesterday, putting paving slabs down. I'd gone probably about a quarter of an inch down, and it was absolutely wet through still. And bearing in mind, yesterday was actually baking hot. We've still got so much water in the ground, and we're an agricultural farming area, so we kind of rely on the sun and that for bringing the crops out. But I'm sat here today and we're talking about gratitude. I'm just so grateful for having a bit of sun on my back.
Yeah.
I was sat there on the bench yesterday. If people saw my post there with a big glass of I'd got white rum and Coke, and I mean literally Coke. And I very rarely drink these days, but I was just sort of sat there reflecting on one or two events, if you caught what we're saying at the beginning, and just sat there on the benches that I'd made, because a lot of the stuff that I've got there, I'm not the greatest of woodworkers, but I've manifested the materials. When we were talking about lockdown there, somebody was ripping up their patio and shed and things like that. I grabbed everything that I could and shoved it in my little car and brought it home and repurposed it. So now I've got this lovely bench that I've made that you can sit on. I've got it angled in the right place, sitting amongst the flowers, sat there having a drink and just being in that state of gratitude of, right, stop thinking. Don't have anything going through your head whatsoever. And people go, and I'm one of these, I struggle with meditation. So I say, well, right, just think about meditation just for every now and again of sitting in your own power. Don't put an ooky term on it, because if you put a term on it that instantly makes you feel uncomfortable, well, you're not going to stop there long. So for me, my meditation, in inverted commas, is sitting in my own power. How long I sit there for just depends on anxiety levels, nerve levels, whatever it is. But I don't focus on the fact that I can't sit there for long. I focus on the fact of I'm going to be there for however long I can manage. If there are any thoughts that are coming through that are sort of intrusive or interrupting, I pay them no mind. I let them drift on the way, because you're talking about like Uki and putting yourself across. Now, when somebody said meditation, for me, I got this image in my mind instantly when I started with this, sitting cross-legged and humming for an hour. And I thought, well, that ain't me. That's not going to work for me whatsoever. But what I've found is truthfully, it can be just 5 or 10 minutes of nothingness.
Yeah.
Right. No expectations, no like world altering solutions or anything like that. But if you're somebody like me who has this constant on button where the thoughts just don't shut up, they don't shut off. It's exhausting. So to give me the gift of 5 minutes of just nothing coming through, no strategies, no worries, no, I've got to do this, is one of the biggest gifts that anybody can give me. I just sat there in that garden that my wife and I have brought into being, because it was a very blank canvas when we first got here. And now we're just putting in everything that we want. So I was having a conversation yesterday about a Japanese element of it now. So that where I'm sat there on the bench yesterday having a drink, I'm also reflecting of where I can get a Japanese bridge in a temple from. but it's peace. It's just sat there in an environment that we've manifested, and it is easier to go along the line of thinking on the negative. It's what I feel that humans can be pre-programmed to do, but just changing your thought processes, changing your thought patterns, and just going, right, okay, sometimes facts are facts. You've got to go through shit. That's the truth. But how long do we stay in there? How long do we stay focused on that? And picking up on your timing thing, for me, it's right and divine timing. It's what's in your reality as well. So the wishing outside of, like, I want $1 million, for instance, to use your
who doesn't?
It's not in your reality, is it? Yeah, I mean, I look around, and Lincolnshire is quite a poor farming area. So to put out to me, right, I want to manifest a business that's going to make me £1 million a year, it's highly unlikely, because at 52 years of age, I've not accumulated enough knowledge to bring something into being. But also, I haven't even thought of an idea that I would like to put my energy into. So the end result, I can wish and wish and wish till I'm blue in the face that I'm going to have this $1 million business, but it's not in my reality because I've not put the groundwork in. Now, with that being said, that's evidence. Now, what do I focus on with that? Do I focus on the fact that I'm never going to get my £1 million? Or do I focus on the fact that, oh, that might be something there that I could look at, but it's kind of like I need to tweak the parameters. So could I have a successful business in Lincolnshire? Yes. But what would I need to achieve that? Well, I'd need to do some groundwork. I'd need to do some research. I'd need to feel where my heart is with something, all with your manifestation work. And where you're talking about keeping the diary, for me, is like a thoughts journal. And they come to me at all times of the night, of things there that might not in that particular moment have relevance, but it's been drummed up for a reason. So start to look at, right, why might that have come in? So somebody said to me the other night, they did a message on one of these shows for me, and they said, you're seeing a lot of numbers and you're ignoring them. So I wrote that down. I'm seeing a lot of numbers. Well, I don't ignore numbers. I look at a numerology website on there. So if I've got a consistent run of numbers, and I've been seeing 1111 consistently on clock timings. And if you look into what the 4 ones actually means, think about ones in the tarot journey. It's that first step. Mm-hmm. Well, there's lots of changes that are going on around me energetically at the moment. A lot of it is just feeling my way through it because I haven't got the knowledge to say, oh, I understand that message. So this is where I'm speaking with my guys in my version of meditation and saying, right, can you explain that a little bit in a different way, because I'm not getting it. It's not going through. But that person was generated into my life as a result of a reading that I'd done for them. And they went, now it's my turn. You sit and listen. Mm-hmm. So you look at what you bring into your life. You might not always get the answers at that given moment, but if you look back and notice the synchronicities of why that person was in your life at that moment, and how that's sort of linked in. Like if I told you about my thing with Paul, I worked with Paul in the gym. We worked together on the wings in the prison. No way in my mind would I ever imagine that we would then be going along the pathways that we're going on now. But there's a connection because I've worked with Paul on the life system, and I've also used him as a confidant, and he's done the same with me. That was built on the relationship that we built because we knew that we could trust with one another. So it's not always getting the answers in that given moment. People arrive when they're meant to. You see, my big belief system is that there are. If you put a word out there and say to the majority of people, angels, in their mind, they're going to go to the feathery people. They're going to go to this, divine beings. Right. Get this into your head that there are on earth angels, right, that are placed there that may well just disappear out of your life. They've given you your feed, if you like. They've planted that seed. They've helped you through that moment of trauma. They don't want recognition. They don't want like praising up to the high heavens. They're there because that is what you have written into your blueprint before you even come here, that at some point you may need help to get over a hurdle or an obstacle. Notice how many times that you've avoided certain obstacles because your intuition said, don't go down that way, don't trust that. Right. I ask everybody to consider this. If you go against your intuition and your gut feeling, and I've asked this to a few people, so I'm still in early stages of research with this, ask yourself how many times that you've emerged victorious. If you've gone against what you know that's in your gut, in your heart, how many times have you come out of it victorious? And so far, when people have actually stopped to consider this, they've realized, no. So there's already a plan laid in place for you. And your angels and your guides, sometimes they're just like blockers. They nudge you onto that right path. So when we're feeling disappointment, and this is what I've been learning recently, where I've got upset about certain things, give it a year down the line and you go, right, makes sense.
Yeah,
I didn't like it at the time. And even in reflection, still don't like it, but it makes perfect sense now why that happened, because it's nudged me onto this path. You see, my viewpoint from very, very early on, I am not a religious person. I've said this many, many times. I believe in the universe and I believe in an energy. I don't know what the collective is, what its name is, but I always viewed life in lines, that we'd got these lines that we went onto, and my analytical head wanted to know how we make changes. So what I've learned over my 52 years on this planet of ours is that we could be on that line forever and a day if we kept doing the same thing every single day. But what puts you onto that next line? Well, it'll be a jolt. It'll be a knock. It'll be a change of circumstances, a change of events, a death, a passing, a birth, just this total change. But this is what life is about. It's like that ball bounces in the middle of the road. You slam your brakes on and you go, oh, right, I didn't hit that kid. I didn't hit that animal. If I'd have just been driving with me normal amount of stuff that's going on in my head, the chances are if that ball hadn't bounced, I wouldn't have noticed the kid. And then you could have been, in a lot. So we're constantly manifesting. But the thing is, when we're manifesting, don't be surprised when you don't always get what you want, because there's bigger parts than us mere mortals at play. So look out for your signs, your synchronicities.
sure.
It's not that you're failing. It's not that you're getting anything wrong. It is purely down to that maybe Amazon.Spirit's out of stock at that moment. It's there on the shelf, but if they sent you a purple one when you've ordered a yellow one, how are you going to feel disappointed? Well, yeah, because I ordered a yellow one and I got a purple one. But then you look further on down the line where that yellow one's took you, what route it's took you on, what line it's dropped you off, because you're going to win by the end of your lifespan, or you're going to have learned something. And I've said many, many times with this, either we learn the lesson or we get the better feeling, and all the rest of it goes in my famous bucket.
So, Rick, I have a little bit of a radical idea, and I'll talk to you about it a little bit more after we're finished. But we have a request. I don't know if this is a new viewer, but me and you, I popped her up on the screen. How about we do a little bit of an in-depth reading for her?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to throw some cards down. I'm going to do that want, need, get. And then I'm going to let you take over.
Oh, no pressure then.
I'll go first. So,
Thank goodness for that.
so want. This is what you want. It's what you need. And this is what we get.
Oh, now that's interesting.
Right?
I'm not going to get involved in just yet, but what I'm learning, and I want everybody to know this as well. So when I did, Anna is brilliant at what she does. She's a teacher. She's very, very experienced. I'm not. All right. So my tarot journey, I've had 3 or 4 various teachers, but I'm like the handyman with spirituality. I work with what I've learned as I've gone along. So we've experienced this on the Psychic News Network, a quick plug there, that I don't know lots about tarot. I get round as I need to do because I get a lot coming in from spirit. But what I'm learning from Annabelle at the moment is about reversals. So I'm looking at this now, and I've not trained in reversals whatsoever. So my experience in reversals is the time that I've met you. So what's that? The year. So I'm looking at this, and me and you, whatever you're worrying about at the moment, and we'll see where Anna goes before I throw anything in there myself, is that you are in the middle of a huge cycle of change. So a word that I'm going to give you at this moment to just think on while we're doing this work with you is patience, because there is a lot in the background that you're not currently a part of. So don't be sat there in any way, shape or form assessing your performance or listening in to what I call the monkey chatter, because with all 3 of them being upside down, there's things there that have got to be tipped out. That I'm seeing all of that at the moment as block, block, block. Now, if it's block, 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 what is it being blocked for? And this is about timing. So now I'll sit back and let the expert.
We're both experts. We're both experts. So this Empress card. So this is what we want. We want to get off this energetic roller coaster. All right. We're going to talk about the World card when we get there, because this is what we get. But having the World card, we're on this energetic roller coaster right now. And this World card has a little bit of a death card vibe to it, because the World is the final card of the major arcana. And so when we get that, it is a completion of a cycle, a leveling up, a closeout of things. For you, me and you, this feels very much like an inevitable change that is on its way. So I wouldn't be surprised if this had come up as a death card. They're similar in feeling, but the World is kind of more of a completion, whereas the death card, you're kind of being taken on the ride, so to speak. But you're being taken on this ride. You know, Rick's 100% right, is that there are things that are out of your control. The Empress card here, what we want is to not have to start any new projects. The Empress is pregnant in her card. And, you know, if those of us that are blessed to have children and have had a pregnancy, it's a long process. You know, I remember when I was pregnant with my first, I kept going to that What to Expect When You're Expecting book. And I was like, oh, that's all there is for this month. Like, that's all they have to tell me. Like, I want to know more. I want more detail. You know, for you, the process of creating new projects, creating new things is very distasteful, because you're on this energetic roller coaster, and you're I don't want to say careening, but you're steaming toward this finish line. So you don't want to start any new projects. What you need to do is not start any new projects, not infuse your world with other energies, with other individuals. Don't get involved in business practices, relationships, anything like that. Don't invite those new things in there, because what it's going to do, it's going to rust those wheels as we're getting to this energetic change. Now I'm just going to throw a couple more cards just so like we're not saying, yeah, that was a strong word, right, Foxy? Happy squirrel. This is good change. Now this is a card that's specific to this deck, and this is just getting, it's like the sun plus 10. Very, very good stuff coming. The Four of Swords. So me and you, I'm getting the sense that there's either like a work related thing, or it's so much more relationship though. This is being patient, not interjecting anything new into the situation, not adding any new personalities or energy sources into the situation, because we're getting to this finish line. Whatever this change is that you are very excited about, this is something that you have been asking for. This is something that you have been longing for and planning for. So, the work has been done. You've already done the work on this. We're getting to the finish line, and you really don't have to do much more. You just kind of have to hang on and enjoy the ride. Rick, what are you getting on this?
Well, to describe my way of working, I talk about that I tune into what I call monkey FM in the spirit world. So there's various thought processes that go on in my head all of the time. But it's like tuning into a radio station that sometimes we have to fine tune. So Annabelle's gone into a teaching mode and her feelings around the cards. And what I'm listening to is what's going on in the background when we're connecting in with that. So I do tarot, and I've got a fairly good knowledge up to the point where I use it because I do use this as part of my full-time business. But I wouldn't class myself as a tarot reader. I'm more of an energy vibration working. And as I was looking at those cards, as I was saying, I agreed with all of what Annabelle was saying. I'm looking, and the words that came into my head with all of the cards that have been laid down is there's a power struggle going on in some way or another. I couldn't work out whether it's emotional or whether it's literal that's going on around you. My guides are saying, my spiritual team are coming in as saying that you're fighting too hard, you're pushing too much, and it's like you're steering yourself down this path. Now, it's great to have the energy to make these changes, but sometimes if we're forcing the issue, we're going to cause ourselves a problem in the long run. I picked up on a lady's energy around you, and straight away with the energy, I went to the throat chakra and communication. I'm sat here in my room here, and I've all of a sudden become very like this, and I'm needing to clear this energy. There's something around the heart. Now, whether this heart means that we're talking around emotionally, whether we're talking about that this lady passed with the spiritual, passed to the spirit world with this heart condition. This lady feels very maternal. So we've got the Empress card, which shows motherly energy. Now, this is what I feel that the message that's coming in for you is you need to take time out and stop, right? Stop forcing the wheel. I heard this really strange saying just go through my head at this moment as I'm tuning in about keeping your powder dry. Now, this is an old military saying there of you're basically prepping, so when that moment of action is there ready, your powder will be dry enough to strike that rifle. So I'm agreeing with Annabelle on this one, that you've done what is necessary. Stop trying to force the issue. Also look at a project that you might have started out on with all good intent. Is it now in your best interest? Is it is it really what you want to do? Is it really what you love? I'm just sensing this need for change, but is it out of necessity, or is it what you truthfully want to do? So there's that sense for me of taking 2 steps back, literally, rather than saying it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. No, I want you to encourage you to take 2 steps back to have a look at where you truthfully are. There are no blocks. You've created them. Now, whether it's out of like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, or is this the right thing? You've manifested a block there, right? Ask yourself truthfully, and this is where you might need to go within. We're talking about the death card there. I'm feeling more hermity around this, where I need to go into that space of introspection and actually be, and I'm encouraging this, very rare with me, but I'm encouraging you to be selfish. Even if it's in for a short window of time, to go within and focus on your needs. Once you've come out of that and you go, right, this is what I've decided I need to do that's best for me, well, then your next steps forward have always got a price, whatever decision that you're going to make. But you need to go into it heart first. Then we can get into the analytical strategizing, but you need to commit. That is what I'm sensing around you. And whoever's like, I call them chippers. They're like little birds that are chipping away at you, but they're eroding your confidence at this moment in time. So to turn those cards around, you've got some serious soul searching to do. Right?
I'm going to agree with that selfishness, because I was getting the same thing too. Like to be, and selfish sounds like such a not so nice word, but it's almost like be purposeful in your goals. Like it's kind of that, but does it translate to selfish? Absolutely. Be a little selfish. Take care of yourself. Everybody took Gwyneth Paltrow, when she made that comment about parenting, she said, parenting, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You have to do your self-care first. And everyone gave her a lot of heat for that. And that was always something my mother had said. And I gave my mom, some grief about that when I was little too. But, it's sometimes we really need to focus on ourselves, and with the speed of technology, with the speed of the world as a result of technologies that we have, it's really hard to do that self-care stuff. Sometimes you're just exhausted. There are nights you go to sleep without brushing your teeth, in all honesty. Sometimes we just really need to take pause and do the right thing for ourselves. So interesting, very interesting reading. I think there are exciting things for me and you, the viewer here. I think very, very exciting things that are afoot. So, did you get any sense of what this is geared toward, her change? I'm having a hard time pinpointing it.
I threw that. I imagine throwing a tennis ball out into the universe, and that as it bounces back, it comes back with something. And the words that I heard, so I'm parrot fashioning what I heard, was lock, stock, and barrel. So I feel that this is wholesale. This is everything. This is like that she's been in the vortex, or she's been in that tower moment, and this is everything. I think my feeling around it all is that we're driving down a pathway that can be reversed from, but you've got to get it into your head that you're now in change, so you're in charge. So I advise a lot of people to come out of being the passenger in a vehicle and taking center stage and being the driver. And this is where I feel now that this is like we've got you pulled up in what over here known as the lay-by. So you're in your rest period. You've took your rest period, but you procrastinated for too long. So there's been lots of things that have grown up around you, and you've kind of lost control. So this is like having that sort of moment there of just going, right, where is my life, and what do I need to do to get myself back on my track? And whatever you do, once you've done your philosophizing, because I love that word, done your philosophizing, you've done your thinking, you've done your consideration, get back out onto the highway, because the world needs you. This lady's energy that's coming in and around you is just throwing loads of sunshine at you, loads of light and loads of upliftment, but you've kind of forgotten who you are in whatever role that you've been playing around people. So what my guides are saying is, even if you're feeling nervous, get back out on the highway. You can start in the slow lane if you need to, but go where your heart is leading you. And this is I'd say lock, stock, and barrel. So this is everything. This is a rewriting of the script moment. It is that important.
For sure. For sure. And you got a nice compliment from, me and you, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope she's still here. And Foxy had a nice compliment for you.
It's what I want to achieve, truthfully. Like I've been, it's just come up to my end of my 7th season on the circuit. So I travel up and down our country, doing readings and doing stage demonstrations and things like that. But what is at my heart, and we spoke about this very early on when we met, is that I'm a therapeutic medium, that I see everything as energy. So when I meet a person, I'm not sat there looking to judge you, or that you need to do this, or that I'm picking up that relatives and things like that are coming around you. I'm looking at your energy. And Spirit have had this wonderful way of showing people that need to be pushed, as in they'll put lights around them, they're like stars around them and things like that. So I start out with saying to Spirit, send me the people that I can work with. The problem that I've got is that the work that I do is specific only to me. I've not seen another person that works like I do. They've got labels that say they're a spiritual counselor and this, that, and the other. But I'm a therapist at heart, that I want to raise your vibration. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the reality of that situation is you need somebody, and what I was always known as, most of the jobs that I've been, is the general dog's body, right? And the general dog's body will do anything that is needed to accompany that person around and help, like set up, for instance. So you've got a studio manager or somebody like that, that the lighting be right while the stars are in the background. I've always had that feeling that I'm a co-star. What I've started to realize now is when people come, I'm actually a battery charger, right? That I plug in, the stars then will take off their energy that they need there, and we'll go, right, what are the blocks? I'll hold your torch while you go in there and do that. This is where the idea of the fallen angel and all of the warrior spirit came from, because I'm the one that's going to go in there with my tin helmet on and protect you while you do the necessary work. How you do that, right? I have hidden away from my true self, in the sense of that I've always been this performing monkey, that I've always wanted to sort of show off and bring in upliftment and make people laugh and things like that. I've not realized until very, very recently that is my role. That is who I am. I'm designed to draw attention to me so that I can get the people towards me that I am being told by my guides, my spiritual team, that I can help. But like everybody, you need a forum, you need a platform. It's all right me sat here preaching out all of this stuff that I've got going through my head, but it needs to go somewhere. So opportunities like this, where we talk, it's not about me wanting to push myself forward, as in, look at me, darling, I'm a star, please come and talk to me. This is about genuinely working with people's energies. So you've got to tap into and build rapport with people. So having a conversation with you, Foxy, it would be no good coming at it from a humorous, silly angle, because you're more serious than that. You're very educated. So I would have to find a key to fit that lock. So if my guide said that there was an issue with XYZ, I would then look at my bunch of keys and go, so in my 52 years of experience of dealing with people, have I come across anybody that's similar to Foxy, right? And then I would search through that sort of video link in my mind there, and I go, right, how did I build rapport with a person like that? You might come across somebody that's brash and quite stubborn and that's on the front foot. So how I disarm people like that is to think about the immovable force and the irresistible object. On a collision course, there isn't going to be a winner, right? But what is going to happen is you're going to slow them down energetically so that you come to this point of communication. Once you've got somebody stopped, then negotiations can begin. So it's no good coming against somebody and saying, you're doing this all wrong, you need to listen to me, because it might well be that is what the issue is that's going on in their life. They've got an overbearing partner, they've had an abusive relationship, their upbringing. So by hitting somebody with that sort of thing is going to be no help whatsoever. So you sit down there and you listen to the story. Right. How can I best be of service to you? Right. I've said this so many times over my professional career, and I will say this in front of the audience that we've got on here. I don't give a monkeys, and I'm being very polite here. I don't give a monkeys whether people think I'm any good or not, right? Because long after I've gone from around their arena or whatever interaction that I could have told you 700 stories, right? You're not there to listen to my stories. You're not there to listen to my interpretation of a tarot reading. You're there to get that energy that you need. And once you go away, I've got it on very good authority that you'll get what you need. So when people come to me, oh, you was very good. Can you remember when? Truthfully, no, I don't remember because I'm not interested. All I care about is that client when they've had their interaction, that they've got what they needed. And then we're on to the next one. So it's not so much about being philosophical, Foxy. It's just like going up into the headspace and having a look around in the attic and just utilizing whatever's up there and making that connection so that I can get from point A to point B. Sometimes I'm going to have to go around a circular route with it. But the one thing that I've always been good at is connecting in with people. It just depends at what level. So that makes a bit of sense because
that totally makes sense. But you know what, Rick? Honestly, like I think that people do come for the stories. I think people, you know, of course with confidentiality, but sometimes the stories of our past clients, you know, can benefit other clients. Our experiences absolutely can benefit some of the people that are watching. So Scally Ann from Australia, one of our Australia friends, says she's been tapping into her spirituality since watching this. She's found teachers the universe is providing. So again, you know, we're vibing high with Scally Ann here. Thank you so much for being here. You know, we have a huge fan base in Australia individually, and the Psychic News Report is starting to get a lot more Australian folks come on board. So it's really great. We love that. We love that. So welcome, Scally Ann. Everybody say hi to Scally Ann.
We're very grateful to you for tuning in. Thank you very much. So there again, we're showing our gratitude. Thank you for using some of your life's hours to tune in and listen to all of this, because it will be beneficial. We're generating an energy. Don't get sort of distracted by the glitz and the glamour by it. What we're doing is we're tapping into an energy, and if you look at it like a ball of energy, the more people's energy that we can uplift and take to that higher vibration, the more changes that can be felt. It'll start out local, but if you think that if your vibe attracts your tribe, you draw that energy towards you, more like-minded people won't be the lone voice anymore. There will be more people that make those changes. And this, for me, is what we need from my limited understanding of this, is how we're going to go from this 3D vibration of what we're worried about and what we're stuck in at the moment to that 5D vibration, which is more about feeling and being. So everybody that invests in us, I'm reliably informed by my guides and inspirers that the payoff will be coming in for you. So thanks for investing in us. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And you know, that's all we want to do, is we just want to help people kind of vibe better, live better lives, you know, just have good stuff coming to them. So we're going to wrap it up for today. So you know, takeaways for today, call to action. Write down 5 things that, oh wait, and I think Dorothy is an Aussie as well. Is she an Aussie as well? Hi, Dorothy. So 5 things, write down what you're grateful for and why you're grateful for them. I'm grateful because, I'm thankful because. This week, when you go to bed, grab your teddy bear, grab your magic rock, grab whatever you're going to grab, might be your pillow, and just have that moment of gratitude in general before you go to sleep. Just be grateful for the good things that happened that day, the fact that you got up and you walked around that day, the fact that you got up and got on your YouTube channels, even though you were late because your computer was updating. Be grateful that the update didn't take 45 minutes. We all know how those happen. So, just do that for the next week. Next week, we are going to talk about unleashing the power of love. And again, not to be super hokey, but in gratitude, we start to radiate. Our spirit starts to radiate this amazing resonance and vibration that is infused with love. So, taking that moment and just kind of recognizing it as love is going to make some magical, amazing things happen for you. Oh, wifey's just getting here. And yes, Huey Lewis said it best. Oh, and Grumpy Sapper went, bleh. Yeah, I know, Grumpy. And that's one of the cool things about the group of psychics that we've put together is that we're not quite as saccharine and nauseating as that. Like, we're not like, oh, like, I'm never going to tell any of my clients, oh, you're never going to vibration level up, you're never going to spiritually evolve if you take a drink of rum. Like, come on, I love wine. I had a ton of wine yesterday. Oh, he said he's teasing, but truth be told, when people approached me about like, oh, like when I was first on my spiritual journey, when I was 17, people are like, oh, you have to like do things a certain way. People get like really stuck on, you have to live like in a white robe and like have a copper, pyramid above you. And like that, it's just too much. Like, I don't want to be that much of a goofball. We still got to live in the meat suit. We still got to live here. No one expects us to go to an ashram and meditate 15, 16 hours a day. Like, God forbid. We're still supposed to experience the physical world here. So enjoy the meat suit, enjoy the life, eat the cookie, have another cup of tea, do all of those things. And Maria said less saccharin is a refreshing change. Yeah, it is. Sometimes they so, and in any industry, people can get a little too hard line. And surprisingly, in the spiritual community, there are some people that are pretty hard line and they get kind of mean. Um Unfortunately. We run into them. I had one that was really mean to me on YouTube, which was kind of shocking. But there's enough subs to go around. There's enough love to go around. There's enough people to go around. Somebody who's looking for spiritual guidance may not work well with me, but they may work well with Rick. And that being said, Rick, where can people find you?
Just so we get the email right this time, mediumrick007@gmail.com. The Psychic News Network.
Yes, which we are streaming to right now. So if you're not subbed, please sub. And if you're not subbed to Rick, please sub for Rick, because we are trying to get him to 1,000 subs. The Psychic News Network, we're trying to get to 1,000 subs pretty quickly. And collectively, we're trying to do that. But Rick, we are trying to get to 1,000 subs as well on his own private channel. But you can reach out to him by email. You can get a reading from him. Rick and I are going to work on a little program together where we do like a little spiritual private program for you guys. So if you want to do that, that'll be launching in the next few weeks. I just had a couple of hiccups in my world where we didn't set up the curriculum yet. It's on me. It's not on Rick. I've been juggling a whole bunch of glass balls. So it's been crazy. But and if you'd like to get a tarot reading from me, you can link into my website, fortunecookiestarot.com, and there's a scheduling link in there. So I just want to medium Rick 007 at Gmail. Whoops. And www. Sorry.
I put that email on because I'm not computer savvy. I've got better over the years. And I went for a meeting about putting a CV out. This is going back a few years. And this is where I'm going to pay tribute to you, American guys. My email address originally was stonecoldwhat@talktalk.net. And I went in there and I spoke to the lady who was full of horror. And she said, well, that's not very professional. I went, look at what you're dealing with, right? I am a humorous person. My obsession for many, many years was the WWE. My era was around D-Generation X and Stone Cold and things like that. And if people think that whether I make it as a success as a psychic or as the counselor and the guidance, that I'm all of a sudden going to change what I've learned over these last 50 years that have given me immense pleasure, then you're talking to the wrong person. With me, what you see is what you get. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I make mistakes. I've got a gob like a sailor. I am an attention seeker, but what I'm always looking at is helping people raise their vibrations. There will be people out there that just look at me and go, what the hell, right? I'm not your person, but I am not going to focus another minute on that. I mean, even if you just looked at me for 5 minutes and you've made that decision that I'm not your person, I can live with that. You know, I've managed this far without validation for people. So we're looking at this collective here. It's just sending out that vibration, making those changes. And for me, we talk about love. I'm not one that's all love and light and things like that. And I'm now preparing myself to sort of put out to people, right, I'm not going to give you sweet and sickly. I'm going to give you facts. I'm going to give you information that's going to benefit you. Whether you want to hear it or not, well, that's the good thing about an off button, isn't it? That's a good thing about leaving your opinion. You either do or you don't. But what I will say, and I am going to speak on behalf of us all here, is we're not worried about that. You know, the people that we don't reach are not our focus. They're not our target audience. So I'm not all love and light and namaste and all of that sort of crap. I'm just me. It's said on my banner. I've just changed my banners recently. I am what I am. I do what I do. I'm just me.
And I think that is fantastic. I think you're amazing, Rick. I'm so glad we've connected on here. I'm so glad we work together now. Can't wait for the Christmas party. So I just want to put up the psychic news report. I just want to go over here, and I'm sorry, guys.
Like and subscribe, guys. Yeah, we're gaining some traction. We've even had somebody on there that's put on a negative comment, which was replied to, and that put that person back in their box.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we're going to talk about negativity during the next 6 weeks. We're going to talk about you know, how to transform negativity into something positive. So, and that's something that you did with that person that made a negative comment. You were like, have a nice day. You know, you said a few things. You said, have a nice day. You know, when I experience negative comments on my channel, I always say, you know, I hope your day gets better, you know. It's kind of my go-to, you know, that you're having a bad day, you're coming at me. I just hope your day gets better. So I hope everybody has a great day after this today. You know, we're test running on the psychic news report. So we do want to have a morning show on the psychic news report. So this is a good way to kind of start the week, have a morning show for the week. And, you know, we'll hope that we see all of you back here. But for now, everybody have a great day. Rick, you have anything else you want to add?
No, just in gratitude. Thank you very much for tuning in and sticking with us and keep following us on this journey, because we're on a rocket ship to the moon. So thank you for joining in.
We are. And I put up the links in the chat for Rick and the Psychic News Network, or Psychic News Report. So make sure you come on over, and we will see you guys next week. We're going to be talking about love. Everybody have a fantastic day. I hope your vibes are high today, and we'll see you later.